Hello and welcome to the program The Frontline Show with me, Enoch Ejo. This Saturday, the NPP takes center stage and the prophets and posters are cashing in. Who will be the flag bearer? The pundit predicts, the prophet prophesy, but who is making money from this very hype? Meanwhile, Ken Ofori-Atta sits in the US cell with corruption allegations hanging over him like a cloud. Yet, Ghana's justice system waits. Will he face accountability at home? Tonight, we cut through the noise. We expose the schemes. We bring you the facts. This is the very last edition of the Frontline Show, where scrutiny meets power. My name is Enoch Ejo, and this is going to be the last edition for online. Next week is going to be mainstream with your main host, Kwaku Annan. The program will be streamed on my CTV-GH, Frontline Ghana, and also on the Hawk TV. My co-host is on the line. Kwaku, how are you?
I'm very much fine. Thanks for asking.
I like that. Happy New Year to you once again. And I believe this is a very important occasion because
Exactly
this will be our last online edition as we're taking over next week on the mainstream. And this program is made possible by Hawk Investigations, also in collaboration with other partners. And we say thank you for making time on this network. And the discussing Yamapa Yadeba Fafra. Now, say in some Yabaka Wahano, Lumia show on Yansama or the Fum. Yabaka and some Inti Bomozin the Bepi Gubiatinado up in Subiano. Na 80 na etum a share Edamo colleague so. As some Yabaka no 10 ye. Vloggers na bloggers ni no biala why radio afa pen and paper no no barocode obian 10 ye. Maybe yin biza well. Ochu na santi bibia sa na the comment aba onya wo behye ye chechi dam not. Iti gugu kebi champo fene na mo hu den dey jaka kebi baba something small. Kitikiti bia na ansane a show na say.
Great one, Mr. G. Meda was pa memma yeti fo ne ahwefo ina ye momina kwaba so yechi omo se wo hwe na napa wo hwe no ewia wo hwe na nadroa yesi ye mo ache ye mo ha ye mo ajo. Of course, this is the Ghana's biggest investigative magazine show, The Frontline. Of course, it's been telecast all across our networks, and of course, this is also your global public square GPS. Mr. Ejri, the from na ejamus meeting on chairman in some nego. And like he said, we also the last edition of the online programs with the hopes 1st of February. Just a couple of days the Frontline show Nagasa resume and then be taking it on from there.
I thank you very much. And as you know, this man Kwaku Annan not long ago made a statement that these so-called prophets many a time go behind the scenes, to see some of these data analysts and some politicians for figures and pieces of info, and at the end they will come out to say that, oh, God has revealed to me. He saw the light and he said it. One man or one self-proclaimed acclaimed man of God called Owusu Bempah challenged him, insulted him, used all sort of words against Kwaku Annan at that time. But interestingly, a politician and a data analyst have confirmed what Kwaku said. Mami Kenya niti na nyani na de on bia bente Kwaku Annan mami senior man eno akawo efriado na sanso kawo CTV there. Oye the so-called asofu yi a wabadi ayo okunhu politicians one awona wagye nkofo na adwen wabre baba elections no okunhu no mo figures a no abebe John o hye nkom there ina mu hu de aboa bi efie opo ye fie so ole bano no ejeta all of a sudden bodu asase mehwe wenya bebe no why eagle dem nkwasa kike se bi udama no ode pu nkofo Inti dam de abotwe no be Kwaku Annan keken a osofo paying bi our friend Owusu Bempah or hyehyɛ na wo bɔpɔtɔ de yaba san alikin inye bi da mentedam. Interestingly, politician call na dam kofu ya wakeka figures bom so call aba out abekere Kwaku ken no oye no call kwambo Kwaku ni dino o patch asem na Kwaku ken no oye no call awon one ken no mo phone ko ichu kra na Star FM awon we tey oye Musa Dankwa na ken recently ni video o yan bobo video ha okay what's prophet Fibobo hun Anthony Kabo Mami no Anthony Kabo na so ketina oye asempos de FM oni obi okay now make a lot of statement be you will share be share oye abenti odi bi o shukuluko fufu yi oye Ken Ofori-Atta this ya no trimu wo oye US wo e be share no ho nsem bi na ya aka de be na obaba Ghana na bebe o say de na fa na na fa se doctor bi na ni be she mo so boto bi mo se po aso se wi mo ya hwe me be yen NPP so nyame adoma meminde wase wo ba be one e be best flagbearer election na we obi we do oneni na ya na maka on him bi na asem o kan I don't want to repeat the words of on him because I insult Zebio wase them nkofo 5 year wo kwa akeji woni you see a particular word for them na I mean you so know what a code no what I said that it's na me adoma on shoba but in the back kan some na other matters about Kwaku. Let's start with politicians one summer working. Anthony Kabo on Cherry Biara. Ena Anthony Kabo oba out oba kede. Aya dam and come sha so fi bi mo hyehyɛ na ade no. On one politicians no ena wade mo wo mi bi no. Anya de obiale hu hwe bia on one na wade mo. Musa Dankwa so interview was Star FM. No so occur the same thing. I also for Bebo when the only one no I do not look at the election look at then. But the man say me wan kasa Kwaku. E ka the man say me we mo kotwe nsem pii de bay. When be saw the one them video see enye bi ahwe na ate ansa na ma to ma asando.
Great, Mr. J. My site is our videos in Anthony Bempah Kabo interviewer on obi oye na nsemo mo rodi go na just say it's quite frightening though, pretty fascinating, you know, developing angles to that of what Bempah Kabo kind. And Musa Dankwa so the also the beto couple of days prior to the NPP flag bearership raise and also a dimrika and namkwem. Now, said will preamble and also introduction or kawumina some papa would be kind trese. Semina ne be ana subsem breeders and minimo harena make kasa setia asofunwa fine. But the year a motoso be prepare many papis we near Jesabria make us a video see away or reference ye. Emuni dudwani na bibre mensa ka bi wo ahase
Okay.
It say nipa ne bibre ahwe sa videos no wo mo so chese Kwaku gina hwe na asemi na chese afidi enim awai prekopa me yehu yo enam soke. Thank God say munya munye bia mo hwe na ankoye te say see dia true see in dia true but message a very pretty fascinating developments courses here. Which of course I know is what they may call as far as the flag bearership raise is concerned. But a idea Emma Ghana for so ye should be you. And yet they now me trese obomuchechi be free in Suasia Babe Kasa Dentem ne wo. But I send you na see a car, Nenche Ghana for ni bin so ya so broke a no mafa no meti because regrettable. Very regrettable. Now so be enyenya Anthony Bempah Kabo videos ni be share. I think so through this program no as a so mo kokoro hwe na uko YouTube uko Facebook ube hu interview no mo dia Anthony Bempah Kabo ne somewhere Anthony Bempah Kabo Sabin Prediasa he's one of the big boys in the politics of NPP. He plays quite a vital role. He was once a minister, deputy minister and all of that. And if Orawe etimi babon tebe catch Ghana for say yes yen me cookie, polls yo figures near the mass of one is there. One more ephemeral bonting and member Shen Comagana for now we Obega Senti 7 previous Atron Budi. Panasene Kwaku Annan now Anthony Abe Fakabunzwe. He is a stakeholder in Ghana's politics. Right? So Onuka said, he belongs to the NPP. So therefore, any pose that they give to the prophet, someone from Meshenkom, we didn't say. Now someone wanna say a brand to Abe Fakabo Kasano. Guess what? Also for Kwa or Freya into the program. Meanwhile, we are Monidio. They are Monidin. Not also free a Freya into the program, not only Abe Fakabo, Ebi Yaboko. See, Kobe, Matwama.
Atwama mesumwa. Dam asam nankasa ma eken some few weeks ago. Onya mantimpo me asho de wenya. Na ka ma se ma ka friends MPB. Na eya word daw. Ansana awona dam Owusu Bempah issue ba besino. Na eya word daw da so fu bi ni mo da madna. Na eya word daw na.
Oh, so much and pretty so much well that I knew of say prophets for Womugu or Memuhano, Mr. Jury. A number of them speaks to the politicians. Two, they have good friends in the political circles. And again, if you recall, one can say we interview crime and we make sure say I saw for a number of people within the class of society. One, are doctors be politicians journalists security services officers no and we dropping komo bebre epium sankrofo ya mabubo mude bebre so ekọ asori e was our software woman sorry o mesisi and for them to obtain informations we know they abeshen kom no because you adicate we bi o but Ghana for no feel say oh woman suffer not being too much woman suffer ni nsem makao na migusu ka ye be resuming nani chain na fi yase ababe boss asem no mu emu toku ye magana for na ati asese masofwe particularly your prophets 99 plus 99 ya kronfo womu ye criminals thieves rocks and na brabafo and womu ye nipa bonifo a womu pese from a decision making choice of this nation and we have to separate the celestial world from the terrestrial world and as of we are failing to do this and to say Anthony Abe Fakabo wa confirm ma esisu say and you as of for any politicians in binum hade amode ye o my Ghana o na ne papa mu ni ana
hade no and bi said obi a yanyame nyimpa ekanyame na asam. Why would you be interested there? Ebe me percentage de be win. I don't know if I'm quite one. That is very mental.
Yeah. And yeah, they are better.
Make you want me because me who how obi a like ekanyame na asam. Na amanya osem. Esa dimu kwa kejim na I predict the ibe din yen.
Good one.
But anyway,
why won't they predict an ambition come after agriculture sector no? I don't know more ancient come for the mining sector. And now put energy sector. One more predictions in Nara say Ghana need be a challenge here. Me say there are men of God in this country predictions in Nara. Predictions in two phases. One, 31st, and they need to go to the chapel to do that kind of foolish thing. Two, election period of every 4 years. And these self-style masqueraders are good for nothing rogues, rats, ragamuffins would have to come on the political stage and then tell the citizens of these nations, say yes, Mr. This and Mr. That, and they be winning. Why? And no. A gamble. The kind of cracker gun in India. A gamble no moba ebeye side and it say women politicians in that to Basako. Miti asema ye cano so whoopia winti and to the Abe Fakabo. Meso Kopesa video no answer the netie. No who said, no minor, only a sophobia or many more. So it's also Antona Bay for a couple the revelation of the Bible. They say very deep and very frightening. He went as far as challenging some men of God. Say, no for the three northern regions. Enkwesi Simasori, Namon Sanson Shenkom, Nameneni Yadrine. Again, I condemned Onwanka Antona Bay for carbon as a politician. And also, so when we engage some of these self-styled men of God, for 33 years into the fourth Republican Constitution, Bramudi Omein, Emunipa, Kwayamudi Afasuni, and Yasofuni Bidum. Now, Okan, what can they say? I don't know Munkos wrong Koshenko. Many adults say, you move in no honey in now we then wako, Akoshenkom, Ewo Honum, Obuba Sofu Ben, you be. All right? And it's true. When we normally share, one sorry no, I say if you now so who says I saw for the Kujina Shua or Mokoshan Kumu because 18 Udia will be trouty at watching. Yes, will make trouty at watching it. Because 7 previous sound Kwasia Samnesa, Jimmy Casanwa, Yasofo when I only saw to happen. In the southern sector, any Yama Quine, any Yajiatum, any I say, Yabrabo, Yabo, Assassin, Nara mistakes are yanka say, yeah. In the physical life aspect of us now, yeah, mistakes are sometimes we just need to take stock. Near say, we would the way to her, also the way to her. If they are not at the way, a be a Brabon bet 10 years the amount. No, the way these people of color, you be piano, a soon wasn't. And also, some mushroom software countenance on it, and they're very dangerous. And
very dangerous.
I am much more than glad a politician has come to accept.
Indeed. One-on-one with Kwaku Annan or Frontline show you do in a 80. Now, an American. Yan shot in our crowd, the papa kuma, you good. Ye boy. Now, okay, say, mono, a make key point to be a boss of unit in the soft different. And I believe that you are referring to Owusu Bempah.
That's correct.
Now, offer no or challenge in Sambia Antonio Cabo, okay. Well, bra, and some no, I remember so that Obi should be some very intelligent question that started you and boys, no. No, bandana, one cassa are free. No, so no response, and they do, mobile you being all the prophets. I at the team. National demand, I'm more me angle, but Munko. No, my Muslim there, time a program or Frontline show, no. And bonus need.
Correct.
We made mention of 3 very queer politicians being a shuffle. Nanumum of the Bempah Boniniano, Anumum, over forward, Adam Hobeje, Bulletti. Eti, the Pedemu there, Owusu Bempah Hundo, you'll be a troublemaker. Another Ehunde, in Sana Wakan or one, inti in Oyedam, another truly no, or a man of God that upper there, Nunum Yamano, Obahoban Intina. In all these instances, no, offer.
All of the above questions you've asked, 2 qualify for Owusu Bempah. The third one, qualify. Because Owusu Bempah cannot, will not, and may not say and tell the rest of the world, say, they are all or yes, sir, because of the so bo sabi nenum nyam ho ban, and I say the prophetic ministry ho ban. No, 1, he's not a prophet. Owusu Bempah, a deceptive man of God, extremely deceptive.
Our strong word, how do you know that deceptive?
Yeah, or a deceptive and a self-style, and that is what we have to put it. Yeah, because now the omu now, so no, is a tree. Ni now so can be described as that of what goes in contrary to that of the laws of this country, according to the NCA Act. A charlatanic advert. Ni now a charlatanic. An advert seeking to, as it were, to promote their self-style ministry, for which people may think, yeah, thou holy, the powerful man of God, all right, blessed, anointed by God. No, it is one described as what? They are self-styled, self-imposed, self-acclaimed, notorious fake men of God. And you can trace them, as I've given the biblical, text, that according to John, if you read, I think John, I will remember the scripture. John 44 verse, I think 8 is there. as far as these men are concerned, you know their identity. All right? Enti womu yang krofua, ono te se Bempah, na nche wo hwe dia Antona Bay Fakabo Kenya. So wamu bi ade. Enti papa ne sen na papa yi ebetimi ewu mu se okwa akwaje na amane ho for what? The same thing may happen here. It's me person me twam for ni we ma Ghana for no mamu nya so brache wo ye kasa Ghana for mo fa sebe eni die bi no obo bi ma de ye ka no na fi ye mfem kwa dwundwe mu se na papa mpo okogina scientific mu ye den. Meanwhile, this I feel say Owusu Bempah asofo ni bi kura de omoyi omani mu a wo mo hyehyɛ nkom efa the NPP flag bearership reason mu misa ne say ono ne nkom sha wahye so far any day mu so Owusu Bempah timi ahye nkom ni na ne say ogina touchline no so he's on the touchline ono ontimi nye bold in ka say Kennedy Agyapong be wini rather and also ogina touch nti so oni interview kura no ne we kura fa ne say obi ye no kura no Obi pushing up to a point at on your radio so beka. Oh, ena there se wushia me a ena se wuye say na when 4 years ago or say 8 years ago of the MPP for flag munko find out say Owusu Bempah wan jen komana. Yen konko find out to say after say bi na MPP for yi flag bearership no wo mu yi we no wo mu titene no Owusu Bempah wan hye nkom na nti dey nti na this time ontimi hye nkom aha e bring ni kru papa sa kind of spirit na odiye sa nyoma na ni no ya na wetumi aye de we sail through na nipa dinechi na me ade no ni na onyankopon apano so ntama ni nkwase kase na ato no eye ekra de video na ordinary ko wiwe Bawumia so na Bawumia followers no so no Ghana fo baby omde na fa nti meka na makase se me de Musa dankwa de na se so a afi be bisa se na hi na asem ye free ba se Musa dankwa report na me de be accuse on Owusu Bempah se Bempah sa report yi na me no be di ho nkoma who exercise interest so person who sa report ya eno na bi twa ho kwan ekoni fie di koma no se je na hwemu a obehwem no waya analysis no kra no ontimi hu eno se me kone ne kotra ho na edi nkomo te se class 1 ni
what the mombro
na wono me no ba betna se report ne dem a hu yes ko kan executive summary so
it's a word about so we did debate
na as say no so mi tu ka free ni ha ekọ fie na wo wi a mabana me no abetna se yes addition na wie no wo sa Owusu Bempah na be catch Ghana for so me kra na me hwe kwekọ na what is more derogatory again and it is so disturbing for waiter say nyame ma no na me beyi ma no say na se wona wo hwe ne a ene fa hu adanse nya na fa bre ene de wantimi amfa ma nemum wuti tu mu se ampa I will report wuti baby na me de buy na finance na ene kre but ene them papa no a ono no yes sa report na de be kire Ghana fun ono so say ababonten abetuni no mutu say ene kre prophet for bebre efrene enemy di nkomo efa me post no Mr. G dey na yes so disturbing na yes so alarming say me na me be kan na man kan you say dey ene obomocheche ni freeze na say dey ono nka say executive director of say Dumakuo no aba be kasa ansemunya eti obi say Ghanaians are we thinking, are we ready to hear and I hear the say ye be didi sa so for ye sa consuming credible informations na very disturbing Kofi asem we many abresu ye that is also one of the reason why expose 2026 wo mu time e ba be perform because MPP flag bearership race and then it's ye ni na e ba be go ye wi ye ni na da ho clara na see ye the expose ke say be perform Ghanaians, you see the foundations of this country will be rubbling. And you go near video. Eti obianti asese sesi ano politician abekasa media tro afi edwumakuo no mu ye polls a wo mu di polls no mu figures edi pia bontina media no accuses asofo yi ono asa be confirm say yes asofo no ba no ni be di nkomo Ghanaians enye mo wa Owusu Bempah betimi di natural bi opeswodi nanso the truth cannot go under like a stop cocker with the best from my MP and will see us a BP is a jury.
ebepi Mr. Dre me so mo ha na asam kram san so mpedem bisa ne de e ka asem bi a wato mankomodo pa there was so many sectors wo oye Ghana ha yen economy na azim extra Bible ma Joseph, even though not a prophet, but a type of prophet because other books described him as such. Okay, the prison, you know, who at the sum, utum chechim, okay, the kombaba agricultural sector by a prime minister crown. But the agricultural sector one sham kumbia or even haircuts and another debate, ubia and sham kumbia or oh yeah, bully ya Ken Otui, ubia and sham come in kwamsha won say nia is about obi bo so onwa obi be president na abo bi leba na ne nsa okaya jata na jata ne ten oyi eagle into hon na yi fi ha na mje hon na meka de yankopon voice bi dami sam yi etete dami sam ya na wonia ya me prem bi sade why then young prophet so called prophet ya wona waje wondi no who them sectors them areas and I put so obi mpo be resign if you podcast Alan be resign myself and you know your program. I said it. Me your prophet. I said oh by resign. That's why resigning. Me your prophet too. But how do be by resign if you party must still obiani otu position on come do be by resign. Na dem ye metu nguti no ho. Why? Say you no find the sika some part or wa. Abade pa na we hu wo dam politics ni. Oni iwuwu of celebrities no. Now some top people no. We hu wo ma. Anam do mo why dam nyama nyama no.
The answer is obvious. The answer is you provided it. And see, me say Ghana for best struggle at all with their minds.
Yeah, because it says Sikado, but a biwa is it the biwa between Kadibana for fame binti? And it tell for one thing as I'm there, Mamino Kuya interview. We are discussing which I make a co-hosting. I interview na
great one. Now, what answer now my
like is the case you are, is it not for fame and I be which land and they'll be back powerful be like
answering now do you go on? Yes, all of that, those adjectives. Of course, fame, A1, 2, money, account, and 3. There is this that describe it as the idiosyncrasy of these black people. Always be an omope. It before no acquire any pedia. Woman is a brofwa. Woman they believe in the scientific world of Zed. It's about creativity and innovation of doing things. What is it? Even though they believe in the celestial and the terrestrial world, both, they understand both. But the celestial world, and then a Brunino, it's a transformation of giving you something that you still cannot ascertain how it does its functions and how it works. It's a television remote to crown all the TV news. Now why so now press it. Knobs no ewo remote no na TV no besa say no kwan say ya de wanwa eduma wo e bori no ye bibini no ntimi nye but bibini ni de no opetumi no bibini ni pese ohun tumi na ehye sa ade no mu a eye eduma no wo the prophet ni be gina so also TV no ma ontimi nso but prophet no be ka che so hwehwe mi wo tumi a mi tumi wura o papa ebushim o mama ebushim 19 whatever just here they wo hwan they wo hwan obekeka ni na egu nkwasi asem say ya no na bibini this black colorway wo mo pesan sem netie so no wo pen someone that the bushim ne we ko ne we yi say osofo ne kani na kire no a onu believe say osofo na kasa ewie no eye toward yedi eye toward what including toward emancipating from spiritual bondage. Now, or beginning the onumpe ade suffering. Beginning the deni na na say when you the easy access, the easy passage, the easy jumping from spiritual emancipation into out of the wilderness into the land of which no nam no woko na no hoatona e bread won baby enye bre asem nti bibi eye e bre na ya kwansidi obibi ni akwem no onu susu dwen huni say e sunsun mu akode na sofo no so working on our minds ehun the weakness, the fundamental weakness of the black consciousness in our minds and we say we dwell you be with them na ya hwesa de no ya yesa dia capture omina na no so no kwasem ye wo metimi capture dodo no a And we need to see another problem no crano. A problem here. Ubetinya transit take this stock no how to diversify yourself into resolving that issue now. There be Obitina on check catch us brother and say another ayefo. One go internet and so all over the social endeavors. One go in now. It's I do somewhere actually so no. Ubeko social media so no or the mwaya beto was a contact no na sad no or who fencing or who solution them out. Into be beginning to me you should not dream under any circumstances be as a sort of cracking the brains and the results any solution like the white man would do. It's man the yes I know cracking the brains how to metamorphose that spiritual belief into something practical. Nobody you should remote in their social TV and answer be ending. Be beginning to me yes I don't believe this as a soul be banner or the another spirit to bear resolve this issue man. It's only as often each crossroad so very regrettable and very sad. And who you know coffee be prepared. Say you with you. You say you with you na very very sad. Okay, Hosea chapter 4 verse 6 where stated what clearer. Wow, these human beings we said they have any lack of knowledge as I see in Yania did Jenny Yami boy send the sas for the young man and so nipping na air the entity no ye black no one won't me unfanagini and when the behano and any ye the in the canco. And say no provisions no Hosea Aka 4:6 or Ubehu said your lack of knowledge a misleading into this unknown world.
Finally, on this software issue, sola se mahama ne sanwo moja. Sola ose muhu de pain webo. Sola ose muhu de day besi. Na waka. Election your baba bodo MPP mi. Since Yankopon krona ka eche yimpa ko de MPA Bawumia bemi. Yankopon krona so ka eche nde Kennedy bemi. Dam kwofo e dama di nia no yentu mfam brebi mba. Obi tumpotu o kade sadame osumesi enwi na won show. Ana won si wa abo wonkum. Then after all is said and done, the impanies are question, name panaba out, aba pacho, the mammy can one fine champ, na day. Like, is it not there? Young Bruno is about time we say a crack or whip and then don't go Timothy Bunowi. You may say me. The Munko Finia, you doing your buono. No more what can they and find you on Yadin and one ma. By a pepe pelana. Is it not about time you should be the ma?
Hey, Kofi, I am more than time. Now, mommy and Fabi being funny serious because say Yanka say trase. Na so mine she share some running na go. Meanwhile, you interview be am here references ni na.
Yes.
Say who checking in nara under the ENDC law NCA National Communications Authority mra and sana wako kenkai the 1992 Constitution and so provisions be brave, including even 1963 laws under the British rule. It is you who san your way nara nessa or mind to me sorry. But on better no mastery, Mr. G, a political class.
We were interested in the day. Mark the Kwaku Annan lose the election. No Kwaku Annan win. Say Kwaku Annan win at one show. The new pen waka da menda one show. Now I've been seeing French to me show. Now one and put them will be or to me. Yes, Shan will baby. I won't be born and so bit be born over you come out from Anna.
And we need to test it now. Yeah. Now, as soon as I came, so same way, Owusu Bempah so became this some time
ago. That's my hammer and son moja.
Exactly. Now, look at such a serious, and you say Owusu Bempah continue to walk on that trajectory. He hasn't changed. All cassette Owusu saying
Mahama.
Then candidates Mahama and Sahu of blood. No, we are not Sambet was in one of his prophecies. He said, the man is carrying 4 coffins.
I don't have Tarzan, I know Samson.
And then all that goes on and on and on. So we'll show in the literal sense of this. Yabaka say grow. Now, so this is a very serious moment. That candidate is persuading followers to follow him. to vote for him. So the Obabeye Omaye. Obabeye no ne enye ne onono President Mahama as a candidate Mahama's own enterprise. It's an enterprise of ensuring the goodwill for the people of this country. But one person, one individual, by the electronic media, with me, sensitizing millions, hundreds and thousands of millions of people all over the world who have something to do with the prospect of the candidates now, or they will deny that candidate. What do you think that individual and what he has caused to the nation through that usage or the passage of Sir Prophecy? That is the harm that prophecy has caused to the fundamental goals of this nation. Hundreds and thousands of people must be enriched by this. But one individual through the prophecy or their say or many you see, and the politicians still seem not to learn sense out of this. Say, it is time, says Uncle, get all of them arrested, shoot them and beat them mercilessly. Some of them should be hung. And some of them must be severely dealt with. We need to set that premise one time. So, yeah, reference, yeah. DBS, the bear reference. So, we call even on my way on civil war. How many years of civil war? But Obi Transidin also know a point on mine civil war at the ban. Self-styled fascist, style like these men of God, he can be a promotion a course. So, as far as Rwanda, Kofi Unim once somewhere, and not Paul Kagame could not be wrong, say. And the Washington maybe say in the religious circle, no. So when you be a wako theologian school and I say we share theology up to even first degree. Not just a won't mean Rwanda or minimum baby. I say we also and don't you think that a means of or sanitizing system was sanitizing and then you be fast and a mind baby. Nagane de gateway to Africa, beacon of democracy and won't come. Yeah, but politicians and any sound for in a to a passacom. Na, womu be true.
Okay, the Madio Ajamakumo, there, man, Kwame, if you need us, the one kiss to us, my hammer, one kiss in a boa circle or the sport.
Yeah,
and allow this man to be walking like that.
Exactly. No, yeah, NDC, maybe affinity, Makana. He was arrested for possessing marijuana or CBBs, so kind one. Now, and you don't know.
Oh, because one face jumped to the moon on one show.
Oh, I said, this woman are currently incarceration. Say, so prophet
is this a god or a god? Yes.
Now you see, Mr. Jury, yeah, come winning now. Near the regulators of this ministry, where are they? The Christian. At least my amphibia tradas. Oh, Sebibia tradas our own. And I may come a gun in Libya to say, on my Kesibu, we are Simha. No muji found who did deep papa. No more sound soon found with you. Being no found with you, I was so born by a mood a change. The world power, the United States. But then, Ghana in Libya, Adia, the US President Donald Trump. Oye was a krumwa, the Kwasemi Agyapong had been and the fundamental rights of American citizens through the ISOs and the Deben, a year one wine, our Mukua, Womusi air crashing crofon, Ninipa Yukum, even right from the beginning of this year, January. And yes, some kito, and I'm already a course from Minneapolis, Minnesota. What should the course from Minnesota? Very. No, any fundamental rights of the people. We see even in the third world. In the third world country, Hampo, see the world power, United States. You see, the rights of everybody must be defined and redefined. One more share, one more deal, and sana. And to make Kujira questions and come this ano, the answer is no. And we need to sit to think as a nation, say the political class can so be brave. As so for any mono who deep on it, say your mind, and yet obey and ye kakabo to be in some masquerade in one baby and conscience abusing the rights of the people. Eya edi omi nya na de omi ko say mu. Enti se wote ne Antona be fakabo bie na no kasa. Abrante ne kasa yeso wo kasa kukuomu wo kasa kukuduro so kira wo say yes. Ekwan ye ni politicians ye ni aso events ye politicians ye ni asofo no afa sunim. Na say be me churchill ye nya time na ubehu kwan a afi wo ne asofo no hyehye hu wi a ekwan asofo no so ko ginegina mass media no so e dey sansem no kogu owi a na waba social media owi a na efini we ko gina na aso
na fe
wo bomuko
expose yo alebado oye DCA dam aswafo kwa na wo for the politicians say ibi wo ma no ho nyame bi wo mu dama
sisu bi na menya na clara
e pa chere expose yo alebado DCA 2026 yes me tidama Anthony ebe fa kabo okin there wo hu aswafo one day dem please na aswafo nso so we kegina so dem aka no fefe no ye be yan ho examples we expose yin between aswafo binom na politicians binom ye be yan bibi dem wo mana asan pa dem tafene.
There will be one man of God and another top range politician.
Okay.
Yeah, unless I'm a man of God and no more running business no.
Wow.
Now
Sidibio.
Yes, me say one top range man of God or memra.
Ghana
yes. Not only a top range a politician as a politician can obey a running mate to one of the candidates in the 2024 elections. only running this church business. So no. And if I say, yes, if I say, a dear about some that the cost was how many you could more. South of Opono or this hadn't assembly be Jones or Shem command. Ube doubting or crime benzo.
Wow.
The church and politics. We have church politics or any other real politics nagasanso among yourself. But you see, no makanina bumwa. Asofo na grow mudi na nya so dem hobium. There's so many politicians in the area ni show ni say. Na ni na cosmetic agrowing. Ni fare ba ni gina so say. Osofo no kuta numbers inti. Okuta numbers no. Enunti na politician no be feel say. So the posters no. Posters na ebi ni mu hwan ti say benefits nam ti say Musa Dankwa no akwaji numbers no so dia bre osofo no gina so dem say our numbers nti fa numbers yi gina so na feko na wokwa fa onyankopon na sem feko bata ho say na so me ade me nyankopon se me ma kan kire bo say sa akenzi ye ekwe esimesi no obewini eno anu the gullible Ghanaian na dwini na ewuo na ensuo dodo gina bebre na dwini mu no enso otumi gidie che say afin so no asofo no so di ehu dodo na nkasa ahye omumu no womu na so ehu ni susu dwen say ya sofo ko mo ye onyame nketwa enti say osofo ne sia especially man no yasofo aka o se esimesi no be wini o wonte yasofo mpo na kan ma no jimia Ghana mani bebre se be o mesie jimia fa no ene kwan o mudi o mankaso mu fie no o mebusia fa so in the hands of this asofo ibn Kofi is most regrettable. I'm sure that now more revelations is coming out. Our women must begin to rise up.
Our women must begin to rise up. One-on-one with legendary Kwaku Annan, investigative journalist. He's the one that I'm sharing word on this very program. This is not an interview, this is a discussion program between myself and him on the Frontline Show. As you know, next very week, the show returns full on mainstream, which runs Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays on CTV. So make a date and don't be late. Kwaku, since I can, I suffer one day. For a long time, I began me with the mad, the posters, and I'm going for me, Jonesy. We'll print it today. I suffer, you see, as much as you blame I suffer, no. Musa Dankwa make last a very election year. Kennedy also being a 14 to 15, and a benefit and work again, some a long run. She be a Kennedy Kaninami. I mean, I really cannot tell about you, but I'm what he may maybe I see. Me who one day they would be posted the album will be same day about to you one and walk and one will be me. But if you want to Ghana force it, into them Ghana force one guys are wearing the new pieces of info. No. Moon do a lot tree I did been away. Moon the problems no if you want walk. I want to don't post us no I back a junk a crap from home.
Oh,
Because you there, okay, yeah, about 2024 election. Me care part in particular. A care about Bawumia. That time, Puno Akabe 4 months or 5 months.
That's correct.
People are called one Congress. That's what Bawumia doing. That time you see Alan. I remember pa. It's on there. People can just go and watch.
Sure.
A care about Bawumia. And your prophet too, or beam to them Akano.
Yeah.
And now, yeah, but for Abano, most make there. Election, Gaba, MPP, NDC Bama Wano, Ibin Sida. It's on record. Me my percentage, they want to one cross even 47% in Puya Kwa miracle. Me my percentage is in India. And my Samsung predict US election on CTV. 2 months to time that Trump be win. I didn't tell them a prophet. Oya adusua obotuma bendon bim. It so be banner back channel post and I got the data now because you and I know you've run this show for more than 20 years and over political programs be there overnight na nkasa overnight nyeme pieces with reference to Legon time you call Legon that very election you na akofado ana alani ebeke yimbiro no hwemo akokodo envelope na ma it's a one post on to me share them mania.
Yeah.
It's okay with the experience kakraba na baka for them posters.
Yeah. The America after them posters, very, very simple. One of it to say is that I believe in posters. So, posters normally come from an experience, such as when you put or machineries in place, you have something to focus on. Being there, say scientific, there are never be bria. Yede toto nakwim na exercise ampa elections we being scientific. Or only there you can't really put much spiritual connotation to it, and they are right.
No, I'm not talking about spiritual. No.
Now, to say, they are now working say, predict, Bawumia be winning. It was the 2024 flagbearer race.
Yeah.
Now, at that time, Bawumia was the vice president then. Or that's what happened.
Yeah.
2, you can figure, say, state machinery at one side.
Yeah.
2, he has enough funds to push his way out. So then the obvious thing was so clear, say, and here a poster and as a scientific idea.
But so that didn't work for Alan. That same thing didn't work for Alan.
Exactly, it didn't work for Alan. At that time, Alan had stepped out of the NPP. So at that time, Alan was like an outsider.
No, when I say didn't work for Alan now, if you are talking about state machinery backing Bawumia, hence the reason for saying that Bawumia won. When you go back, because 2007, 2008, I'm now will go on midnight and I'm now
sure.
And we all know where the powers that will be. California administration at the time will be no back.
Me can't 2024 race in
okay.
Where they say any there. Obika is a tremukra. Me come we are when we almost in Abeko and on America.
Okay.
Medema Bawumia said Bawumia. Instead after posters media, Obia was said there, and of course scientifically it is proven globally. Even media houses, television, radio, Bibri, Ewo Kwaya, Omofas Womoye, Womo post, any baby, Womutimi figure say party way and I say Ebirini. So main can be brave. This is all that I will say about it. And most of the posters, said Omo figures many of them have not been far from right. Say because what they do is that the interface with the human beings on the ground speaks much volumes. Maybe delegates then come to the mass, the popular vote, Now media a figure say okay. From this analysis of speaking to this class of people, they can hazard say, and I think many of them have gotten it all right ever since posters.
I wanted to I have a different opinion because Mr. Donkey with Kennedy last year. What for baby I didn't friend was different to cry. So I don't go for make a video Because personally, not maybe because of my background as a researcher, no.
Yeah.
Most of the things that I do is based on research base. And
Yeah.
I know too well the posts upon posts and posts, no. Some of us as the researchers know sometimes we sit down with some people, we all analyze and then look at critical thinking and hence that results no but you look at the environment and you're able to tell that such a thing. Actually recent year percentage job about but I me post it. I have a different opinion on the subject, but nonetheless, no. So
Yeah.
now let's come to MPP Almighty Congress or January 31 Yankasa. Maybe so the mass same crown sign because of time, you know. The idea made them in K Nemu who be that from 92 base in there, but the idea the work down early Congress and Sana walk one down national executive kind of Congress, no work with them flagbearer Congress, the idea and Ankasa work with them generally. The idea no, Esha, Obwa, another Bobwa.
Um. Well, Nick said MPP feels that that is the only way. I will make him a flag bearer to, you know, turn the party, in and out and then go for the popular vote. What I'm hearing from corridors of the party is that if you mobile BABB to say, enquire strictly delegates, nemum, afi bayanes to say, ubi aware party member be depending that or party in the card and you are also in good standing. So it means a babe to say, and not just say, be a mimi no me and ye MPP for and think about way on between and yet limited to delegates. Nemum a bear
MPP
first
members.
NPP members.
Them around the
So
electoral college were in 2009 to something.
exactly in the
Yeah.
end strictly limited to electoral college, but all
Mm-hmm.
I believe say no more and also all the parties in there that for me will limit this moneycracy in this very system. Yeah. So if the and when banners are bribe ubia the answer is no. Because that for me is more an improvement, is more of an innovative, creative to elect because here came delegates for no more choice. What about the grassroots people? They may also have their choice. Now, if you stretch the voting system, the possibility that both the lower class, the middle class, and the upper class combine, but why do we give access to only the middle class and the upper class? Now, grassroots media, they are near ignore. For me, it is also somehow a bit of the fundamental, rights of these individuals being infringed. And the political parties need to look at it one more time. It's an innovative thing. For me, they need to, make one step ahead of the OBC.
But this very information here, look at the electoral college, no, very expanding, no. Beyond the normal area, or a statement of fact, another, I just.
Oh, a statement of fact. It's on the way coming. Sooner,
Okay.
one will be ye for nephew or
Actually,
the map.
the main contenders, no, Kennedy and Bawumia. I want
Yeah.
to be. Na nkafo no waka won don one day so wabo won mo de na wan mo be na wada shanko pune nyum but yan hwe ngwo futu yi
Sure.
with your experience
Yeah.
you've seen you have felt it and you've seen enough you have said enough politically egwali no about Tizo this very election in Ijamo run it
Yeah.
for me how do you want to run this show teach him how you think things are going to go.
Good one. My analysis for these two candidates, Kennedy Agyapong and Alhaji Muhammad Bawumia, will not be too different from what I did how many years ago, about 3 years ago, 2023, prior to 2024, Now, again, you are saying, in a couple of days now, of course, the race has stretched its last, run. And I will tell you, sir, this time, the space, I am more widened.
Okay.
Again, I am more widened and also more threatful compared to 2023, 2024.
Okay.
Why? Because at that time, Bawumia was in government, whilst Kennedy and the rest, woman outsiders looking in.
Yeah.
Now, this time, women are outsiders looking in, so it broadens the space. However, may I say, it's not because me Kennedy and anti-painting and I may analysis. No.
Okay.
And now also say Bawumia was cited to be that of on the heels of the comment even me be free. I'm being biased. I'm being real because I can't have somebody became pain. Let's say the MPP delegates here in the next couple of days, woman ebekwe, so maybe many no mason. Let's not listening to the MPP people, but listen to Ghanaians like some of us and others are. Then I think the NPP delegates should open their eyes and ears and consider candidates like Kennedy Agyapong to be their party. But as to whether they will do this or not, that's one. And the minimum answer. However, we share for last year, all the way here, they cross it by 2026 year. The race has been fearful and it has been dreadful indeed. And I'll tell you, sir, that makes the race more intensive now, as far as Bawumia is concerned. But Mekan said, dear being teenagers, so we ora Kennedy Agyapong. One open and obey me actual say, Sabri way, ora Bawumia, Ebra or no. Taking lead and say obey lead partner. What the name call 2024? And 2024, and ya fina make kwana be bonchiremu. More MPP for the munim. Adia, year. That was 2024 elections, and we said, Yaka, I said the Nika crying at the debut. She said, Mwamu strongholds are hodwa. A hosom put a big nay on Bawumia Fiono. Muhu and Ma, Umudu Gauno, Ewo. And next year will say, na mo ho afono mo ankasa mo MPP kuo no na mo ho so afono Ghana fo me one enti se wo sign this nipa no biom e de ne ba e dien na kire wo se nipa no party nankasa mu nipa so e kodo no two Ghana fo enso se nipa no ne ho yo makondo therefore mutumi hazard a funny guess say 2028 is Bawumia's time. Hello penetrate analysis via me years ago, me catch Ghana for say Bawumia continued to pose an existential threat to Ghana's peace and stability as well as his wife. I stated this security build-up way on Alhaji Muhammadu Bawumia since 2023, prior to then earlier Congress Nano Mukuyi flagbearership race in 2024. Me signed to us say all of the above were also captured in the NPP's own report titled The Report of the Committee of Inquiry into the Poor Performance of the NPP in Ashanti Region in the December 2024 presidential and general elections. Report on Edaminima, Yemenam Troy. Now, of course, I report in Manu business. Again, there was I reporting.
Wow.
Again, there was I reporting. So let me rather put it this way. Bawumia Alhaji Muhammadu Bawumia any year Mami Samira obey second fence is the first lady in cancer.
Second friend is a second lady you say.
Second a lady. So the emblem who's American. Both of them, sometimes many Ghana phone both of them poses an existential threat to the stability of this country. Now I'm not saying it for any reason, say me Taiwan. Na same people for no penekwan so they know na eyeni wo eyi wo mani say
Asmalik, are you speaking from your point of view as a political person and from the report, not the way you mean?
Report I capture all of the above I just spoke about. Yes. The report has captured, and anybody on TSN go and refer to the NPP's own report with February 16, 2025.
Okay.
These were some of the findings the NPP capture in Ashanti region alone. Mind you, the NPP's base is in Ashanti region. this is what the friends say. The base in Ashanti spoke and they captured it. But then some of us earlier have spoken about some of these things way back before this report in 2023.
Okay.
And the catcher will say, wow, one of now we'll check it on the national security radar. As of the last time I checking, we have about 700 chieftaincy cases threatening Ghana's peace and stability. One among such chieftaincy cases is the Boko crisis, which has lingered on our shoulders for more than a century. I didn't say half or a quarter of a century, a whole century. Now, it drew the tenure of Bawumia as a vice president of this republic. Ghanaians should go and ask him, what role Ben will play in the Boko chieftaincy case, crisis? Is that what Ghanaians don't know? And is that what Bawumia be catcher in Mubinim say? And when they say an all person if you believe no ubelidi Ghana no e dey ba sem na be si menwa. Now here can say some eminent chiefs including say friends saying Otunfo or say to treat the second was commissioned to do a job. Ejuma oye necessary yen fa na say okuho no owadwu kakra o enso enu sa.
Yeah.
But ebedu enu yo yen say yen miso ora Bawumia say in the years obedi o mention I anamo ben wo 2 year in the crisis of the Mampusis and the Kusasi for no one can so fi tribe be mo say if Bawumia no ye a Mampusi ni na muni Kusasi for eba atwede wo for 100 years na fi na wo be president na wo di president ni wi a e de ben na besi wo na wo ye vice president mboy na mo be na wo tue now Bawumia should come and answer to Ghanaians. Or you're not drinking no bois. Emi yesi hine e wo boko. 2. A buyer said Bawumia emomudi ohini bi she military helicopter mo was captured on camera. Ano muku ra boko a alarm eso ayema ekoye nsempi momo drop e ohine no e wo baabi omudi ni kusie. Omukuta mo ohini free wale e di ni ku ra boko kromo. So America say, and as at that time, no, the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, the then President Akufo-Addo, and the national security chiefs did not know anything about this. And what happened? After that incident, you know, and to Kobe the sea that led to several hundreds of, both Kusasis and Mampusis were murdered in cold blood in Boko Township. But we should tell Ghanaians, answer this question. I am not making conjecture. I am putting this as a direct question to him. They will go a couple of days. But I dare the delegates, if the delegates want the very peace, and party here, what precipitated that insurrection? And I said, "Sa few no e wo honom." E dey na dey ba, na dey na Bawumia person wo ye. E ba ne sensu eni mu nyina eni mu nkra na wo ye san. Yet to aba no, the entire Boko Township and Wale ne na sefo. Ni mi se Bawumia ni nya sen. Wo dey na twere wa. Afi ye mi se the same Bawumia e na wo ye ono oye on my bar. Emra wo Ghana omroso na tumi ni nebusiafo edem na ne show nsem move to the army headquarters, call some military officers, ni yetumi fa a military event low bear edem military hardware ACC so move ko East Legon na dia no mkoye ho one of your own party stalwart or also say financier of the party. You simply just go there, you took the loss of Ghana into your own hands without any court action and say, oh, right, says, oh, wedding. Obi die maku do 10-story buildings. You'll be falling before. Na udigu hono. Obi entime mi se wasem. Obi entime anka. And as we speak, the Ghana Armed Forces, finding also response this is how some of our intellectual class must abuse the fundamental rights of our security services. Mumbi say question assembly Bawumia obi say question ben or can one say and an yen kasini nebusha for na ya accuse say yes and have you ever some no kind answer say assembly court. And now ye judgment court ediama that businessman George Utibo to say it's our family intrinsic and infernal. Is this the kind of people you want them to lead your nation or lead your party? people who don't respect the fundamental laws of your nation. And it's a party minimum run almost muswa. Now, food will be sick on console made you my swa. At the end of this, or may or mine. Such a gross disrespectful. Anyway, the third one that makes this same family poses an existential threat to this nation is the fact that, listen, and it's still on the national security radar. There's a particular group of people, of which some are already here as Ghanaians. Some too are out there at the back door, ready to jump in. Hey, the Fulani nomadics. What are we talking about? Namia yet memoir. Some Fulani for ye did this I knew. One more Ghana. Now see here more say card, see here more national card. They will threaten the what? The peace and stability of this country.
After
That's
this
about
video,
Ghana for Monday. Sassimo Ghana for Monday, including say and chair. And the year was 2-4 to react about some comments now. Some Fulani group for Ebeka or Memoir. Now, and no, you first media, 107 traders are all free. Now, some way we are, some any Pakuwe, a dear pa, dear office on the stability of this country. Abra this time, you didn't rampune a year. Necessarily, some way, sir, Mammy Somra. Akunya sa sanko food ene yekoka obisi oh and you are sounding trouble my friend who be a mekasa asem nkyere me e be a meka na me the America bisi was monhwe sa kuro no Donald Trump abet transfer no and yen kan say the whole Americans no wo mu no mu ye said amanfrafo na so hade e koso.
Yes, I read Indians and crisis on Crampo when I saw I should send.
Well, obviously, me and kind ready, yen kind of
Americans.
Native American.
Yes.
So let me take it coffee. Ejiri.
Papa.
Me describe it or Bawumia from the true basic form any busia of Fumuba. And yet, for me, forget about say me weakness here and there. I am coming from security and intelligence, stand. And to be in fact at the Pepediam Rome. So, oh, dear, my so, and people bet me lead the answer that I cannot come. Nemum say, oh, lady, oh, my Ghana. Bepamucho. So, my person, Gradia, and then yon one. Now, Nani, only Ura Kennedy in Zemini. Just say, Nano Kennedy be and I no can't see me say, Bawumia and lie and say, and quickly, I think, say, Kennedy or Ine Agyapong was charitable to Bawumia. I swear God, and I dare anybody. They say he was even charitable to him because I heard some MPP Star Wars video they design Kennedy Agyapong and they as usual say why? Anyway, there. Na me ba wo Bawumia na would be on my swan. And esia utade to homa o meya ufa hudie na wo vese say ekro wo mai serious a wo mo krake wo mo hip na benchmark na ye de to no na wo ba me ncho betimi apase na wo betra national TV shows and radio so no wetimi you just lie to the whole nation said the an amount of say $1 million saying see yam fam kosi eye efe saying dam e wo wa wo kromo wale ho now what betra radio say one of the enviable achievements of the government of which you preside as a vice president say enonene sa can say a wale dam na we see e wo ho Palugu dam yeah ye wie ni e ko hwe Palugu a gata prase nsu be fa gata no no eno yenye ba kokra o e die na ye atrokese emu odin chinwe e die na ehu. What is such despicable lie? Dishonesty. No, to me, trust out through it. I brought with your mind as I said, we are vice president. What for maybe? Okunya or maybe or mudim ranu yedma. One fact checking situation and ye wait here. But I'm bet me for at was a vice. Hey, massa, at the end of the year, one crown. She the ayoma vice president position for you two others. And so Mogana no. Or fan who dear. It's even race way. What is it? Bawumia in Kasa Bebre because on when he said he woefully failed the party in which he presided.
Obama Christopher Israel.
He should stop that. He should stop such commentary. We don't want to pick, Bawumia on grounds of what religious politics and so forth. But for me, it is most regrettable of his stewardship to the people of this country. Say, one share call it despicable enough. Just say you presided over Nimibi, but then another sickening thing are some NPP elements if one year say they want to give Bawumia a safe passage. Say, oh, Bawumia was not allowed to operate fully. Please stop this nonsense and foolish talk. Don't insult the integrity of Ghanaians. I don't want them to insult the integrity of Ghanaians. Say, we were sitting out somewhere. Akufo-Addo came and said what? As for him, he doesn't know. Economy on Tiasia Papa. And we need too much. So Kofa will be a wabene papa. And Kofa papa in Adenaba. What else again? And you chaired the economic management team, as well as you were chairman of so many other AEB
and government policies.
All the government policy, including gold for oil and so forth. Nina, any Bawumia initiative. I don't know yes, initiative, including say, and one sama Bamania. Why would people want to give Bawumia a safe passage to make it look as though it was not part of the implementations of government policies and programs and framework under the tenure of Oneni Akufo-Addo? Why? Because you think that a 10-1 a safe passage non-call. Please, that's for me is a politically, intellectually dishonest that people in this country, particularly in the intellectual elite class, should not do this to the people of this nation, including their own party's delegate. For me, and some fool do not make it look as though 2028 just a cool chop for Bawumia. It's Munya didn't see not just saying no. Na enche bibi enye bibia ena na Bawumia gina Ghana for ni mu pacho te emfanche no ana Ghana for ni ante e di enje na wo pacho 8 solid years na wo ti ho Uni Akufo-Addo ni ati ho mu din samone ye nyoma ensem fata ne yekoka empo da musimu betie na yanka mpo ne yeka enso utie ye na wetie nwi a sabi previousa no wa say be gina me kwekumenim e be gina e de e fense live fun be gina menim so oh ena Ghana for mu fanche for me. That kind of useless, dirty politics in the context of third world countries, this is Ghana. They should stop it. People are awakening. Any penny be, and the more you have done this to the consciousness of the Fourth Republic, people have been awakened so much that Ghana free home. It is time some food being a group is annual. One may transfer radio, sir, and some food we need to tell them, so listen, stop misbehaving and continue to tell lies to the people of this country. And of course, media announcement be and Owusu is answer. And yet, anti Bawumia, all right, we've made our analysis. Of course, between now and Saturday, Kofi, the entire total electoral college, 26,000. But I tell you that about 17,000 out of this still stands on the altar of undecided.
Oh, okay.
So it looks great. So it looks more shaky.
Okay.
It looks more shaking for Bawumia. And we say DNT what they want. Maybe no. I would say the 17,000 bisujina woman decide, and that is what is making Bawumia and saying Kennedy no Ejina at this crossroads, and let's see how the build up ends up on Saturday.
Let's see how the build-up ends up on Saturday. I'm an Omuhunde. Sir Bawumia obe maintain na ibi mi say obi obotum control no because ma obeka don ye no be then ibi meka ibi so gentle ibi so most marketable ibi so dabi na your Fulani background na SMP a chere ensam no dawson na ibi so kede pin do wan nkofo wom but amuhunde possible anhwene obako run off anhwene ye a anhwene na wako run off but yahwema enyama oye memende na along run you hu obi anwane baba na ehwe nkofo surround Bawumia hu na hwe no surround Kennedy hu am oboyin poko keke mafode is around Dr. Keke Mafode is around Kennedy na hwe mara krabo agena abronya na don so surround oye Bawumia samum na da who the difference no oye clear kakra.
Well, the difference is much clearer, but you are saying any be impacted on the electoral votes is also another question. But I will make it quickly. Say Kennedy As some na make now let's read into this space. Second idea, I'm making some very key declarations here. It shouldn't be too much surprising and disturbing for the camp of Kennedy. Because I'll tell you this. Kennedy Agyapong, he will control something in this country which will be so shocking, sir. That control and that exerting of powers may not be through the electoral process.
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
That's a deep word. Yeah. Obedi omensu okwan bisua. Kofi. No. Maybe I may antono swaba. Nanso sad ni bisi omemwa. But I will say it's a conditional. And a conditional you drew so was our bridge in the swap. Yeah.
Small can the key and when say 1 year best split if MPP.
Well, I do not foresee as possible thing because if Kennedy would do that, first, well, I don't know the chances.
But this time, we are and Yamal could between the two of them 2 dating.
Yeah.
Why? Yeah. Because of time. Okay, yeah, this
I'll conclude on the basis there. The delegates, Womoma party party for the past 10 or 8 years here, Akufo-Addo ne Dombe rule. Party na ako how many nkokohwe asimu ene kwadanda mu. Na ni na so no kofi me kana kra kire MPP na. Faraba ne kesi nare papa ye omom kofa ne de ne ba party mu anchi. Yen kan say after 8 years oni ne Akufo-Addo ni na nchompe ombe bi no monko. But in the people passing, yes, so we are teaching to them, maybe more fun or more. Now, we're waiting to 20 way now, one more a copy of it. Because Bawumia pay on pill. Hey, Sikaka, when you be, Kotwe will be so as IMF one house, the World Bank one house, caught somewhere in the year, we know, and the Mokane same point. A technocrat in Nakoye, wait, maybe, and whatever, consultancy going. But Sa yo domin just will be MPP focus on me as an ama a deeping party crisis for far too long. They're very dangerous. And you moving a bit too homophobic for anything. Oma say party not say anyway. Meaning how the reformation of the party in the you know the worst part of my corner will be a the repeat of history of 1979. After say very saying Victor Owusu Eddie Progress Party in Community and there was this political conflagration that eventually resulted in that political disintegration. The same offshoots and the remnants who caused the destruction of the party then one more offshoots, no more remnants, any Akufo-Addo and no woman no Ofori-Atta Gabi Atroche Dakonum any bomb anyway from that. Now, some back in 1979, that's one offshoot in you. It's at that time, I will lean in a cousin of Ofori-Atta and I'm breaking out free the Progress Party and the party I say, bam. When we break away, I'm forming with the UNC party. That was where Rollins here say, yeah, friend saying you move to this transitional. Oh yeah, parties in
exactly.
It is that time yeah, two abano. President Action Congress Party Western Region, Umunya 10 seat. And na ebasa no Victor Owusu here na adwin say no. Oh yeah, menche. Pa wulini ne cousin Ofori-Atta ensa ene ne domina omena. To be kaya, Umunya ve here friend saying I'll tell you this. The late Alhaji Zuma Banda was made to play a role, and that role was to coerce the UNC for no. Say, Mamum Fama Banin Sankoka for ever saying Victor Owusu, Nemum, Mombe joining a Liman. Joining Liman. For whatever reason, they wanted to pursue certain northern agenda. And I'm joining. And Emma, one can say UNC for now at the close of the elections, Bawumia sent 13 seats to the UNC. And a Victor Owusu 42, Liman 71 out of 140. And he emerged as the president of this nation. and Liman and Kasanobi said, no. Does he know the dynamics of the Ghanaian politics as a diplomat? He didn't know anything. Into no question as a why he was throwing party left, right, and center and having merriment. Now, Rollins and the AFRC also returned to barracks and they were watching him closely until the D-Day. We saw a friend saying a spellbound and there was skies rocketing with miseries. 80 Wamono, the farthest woman Bibia 79 and who and from a bono abo bedru and almost ye who she. My young Saturday near DBC.
The Madi, I will quote exactly as our former father John was the name, and Ado said, I'm on the damn confusion of Kodwa party, no baby no fear papa no, because you see, paying piano save you, it's a public kind of casa, was there show can say, because we influence. Until that, maybe I make a summer impa 1 2 3 Baba. I am poor my crown, able to influence how much my whole president. 2018, time of Coco Frodiano. One Congress, national way for executives, will departing him. Or make a statement, you say we must maintain and safeguard the gains of 2016 by electing the right persons to do so. We must maintain and safeguard the gains of 2016 by electing the right persons to do so. Into the gains of 2016, you know, I want to know my 2016 gains in the bay. I had the John Boyduna in Yuma. So in a way, and that was a time a lot coming of 4 people where you do political mastering event. Obi Basso, is there a contest? Oh, this one, the no contest. And that was the time of confusion. You know. Now, first started the war, young woman, what the youngish woman, and then there, what baby put me with pay. And then you sometimes won't do feed that particular point in there. Every pain now, young day pain, save you, my yammy neutral. Tell me, ye, me, ain't no be an alpha. I can't be a queen. Mobile fan, no alpha. I queen any. But in Boko, young shackle Ofori-Atta. Young Boniface for one young from baby. Ken Ofori-Atta, no problem, Kakrani Dewa. I stand to be corrected. Okay, I stand to be corrected on this. This one, I really stand to be corrected. But the time now was where Oya and Papa Mahama in no Ghana, no Ghana.
No, he wasn't here.
Into a fiance and over swear Mahama in.
That's correct.
By the time no Mahama in my present in it.
No, Mahama, we needed that. Ofri ha koe no. Me fan say ebra MPP winnie no. Just around the transitional period no man and the free chroma koe.
Tata at the time when that president known to me Mahama in you to stop it.
No, me and Swenny.
Okay. Then me come as on Pedamecan.
And a Ocho Krata de Coma, the then chief of staff. The Krata no. I don't know why into my handle no quiet. And then I think there was a passage for him to go on the hills of say Neshua Muyenia and the
Oh,
and then say oh man quiet.
Are you sure this information?
Message me, make an equinature. Neshua Munana a yeni yatra say. Yes.
You see for each other, that you're queen in what your
Mikasa.
Ofori-Atta. We are not a better moment. I say, I cannot afford to figure now, but from what you are saying, that's the NDC now one by power. Even though the way, but no one for power no more.
No, they were an elected party into government
now,
at the time.
Oben then US one your friend at FBI and one other agency so to move raha. Obet you do a no denoko. Name to me the same thing. Near someone my fin one more paper, what now some cells to be away.
First of all, Minyashoze be sway into the analysis of why the US federal agency for Tumibora Ghana dominant
okay.
Or the international geopolitics in the air conwa a whole analysis in it and be taken away from I'll stay with Ofori-Atta still in the US so about
and you know that there's an agreement. I'll look for it. That also give Ghana the power, then so we can equally do same. Whatever thing that you can do, we can equally do same. But I'll look for that very agreement.
Oh, and as part of
Yeah.
the bilateral agreements,
But just as
that's
you
all
said,
fine.
young
Yeah.
into that matter, no, but I know there's an
That's all
agreement with
fine
you
with
of
the
one.
United States, you know.
Yeah.
You know, the laws in Ankasa did that easy.
Yeah.
And then in fact, Ofori-Atta did.
Yanka Ken Ofori-Atta, Sisia. Now,
Great.
that's no, you'll be one time I find a stranger, I shall have a white, and I'm a butcher, a black, no bag boniti. So, yeah, so spy, say CIA agent, or say BNI agent. I don't even know which one you made this spy.
He's none of the above. But Kofi, on a more serious note, you
Yeah.
know, we need to kill this political mischief conspiracy against
Mm.
this nation by the political elite class of this country.
Oh, okay.
Now, on Ken Ofori-Atta's case, the very disturbing situation is that Ghanaians have called on Ken Ofori-Atta simple to step down and run an accountability with us of his stewardship period. That is all there is to. And he says he won't. Because he has what? A problem with his testicles. The Ghana for Kenya say, Mr. Ofori-Atta, bra. Na besha se, wuni ebebu akonta ewo nyuma waye ewo omemu ebra. Yedu esi wose wona woye yesanahe na hwe ho keke. Ofori-Atta wo ka kire Ghana fo na se ne hwe mu ye ne ya nti wontimi ma hwe no eye ne ya ne yes, but edin before ye the first adden and one brony see testicles are eyamode na say bibini ni say ne hwe
Hwa no I have bibi me it can be before you end the navy Mr.
eno mo kan say anye hwe na ye hwe akufo adokra kai so obi ade emienu na dane ne picture ne say obi edi me ka say wenya akufo ade say obi ade emienu no kwasem so obi ade emienu
akara wa sauro wa efa
wakasa asemi osi obi ade emienu
akara obi ani da abade
emienu
abade no emienu
hwano emienu na ne kwasem so say sa na no so etie say wohwa da na akufo ade kai enti ya pa chen na ne say yet one yenya information say subsem previous say wenya the problem friend say prostate disorder bi na no so ehwehwemu na me yehu say sa yare ewe ofi ejire your premier hospital na ye kolebuno one of the best hospital the whole of Africa or West Africa yen ye dimu akotin dimu ntintima ye kiosa particular prostate disorder no ama Ofori-Atta hwe mu eye ne yanu ma ontimi ye obe no yesasa yarewa and according to the expert professional health professionals they ask them say sabi we so mu carry test e Ofori-Atta ho na o ma hwe nso no mo treat ya eni na wotwe na o mo wie sa de Ofori-Atta mato na so Ofori-Atta woni ni nua ne ne cousin o eye owura Kufado presiding over this nation no mo san so presiding over the health sector is speaking back to Ghanaians and said no Olebunu enye hospital between atom munya no ayarehwe ewo that is one insult womode ama the people of this nation indeed Afisha Hanso now some legal luminaries including some elite members of our society including the likes of the Paula Demotrice any now a gentleman be so also ISS now he's also a doctor I'll see a friend Abna Bonfe. All of these people are near respect to them for some time, okay, in this country now have opened the floodgates for such despicable, repugnant, foolish, gullible analysis. Telling Ghanaians that
I listened to him I think some few days ago.
Telling Ghanaians that it is the right of one and Ofori-Atta not to step
and step that he can even come and decide not to talk.
Yes, step foot in Ghana. Therefore, the system can try him in absentia. the lives of wine, Ibnabon Fedom, any Madam Funia Poladomochin, Echo Trasha reputable radio stations. Now, including some legal luminaries in this nation. Today, have the guts, the effrontery, the boldness to tell the people of this nation, say, yes, it is the right of wine. And Ofori-Atta say, money in Ghana, Ember, render an account of his stewardship to the people of this country. As if though, and Ofori-Atta at the time was running his own enterprise. Therefore, it is his right to say, why? I'm running my data bank. I'm running my enterprise assurance. I'm running my transition. And it is his right. What about a sovereign nation like Ghana? And your time to serve this nation was under the auspices of what? The Constitution will serve your mind. But today, we are being told by some legal luminaries like Frank Davis and stand on a radio and spew horrible garbage, foolishness. And Kofi, I beg you, I am in Ibrisam. Interview the Abuina, baby. But the still of Ofori-Atta continue to live in the hands of the arts in the United States and will not want to step foot in Ghana. It's an issue I'm not taking it lightly at all. And I think that it serves all our, our men and women in services to God and country to watch this space. That's it. They are more careful. What it? Nanchawu Ofori-Atta and say, Bibi nye Bibia. Afi Magana for yenye yahontia says no. The family of Onu Ofori-Atta belongs to the blue blood family. Therefore, when we are above the laws of Ghana, hallelujah, beti mi abunze mamo. Na say yes, sir. Then the question demands, and I said then, we are simply demanding to know from these legal luminaries, plus those disgusting intellectuals, if Ken Ofori-Atta can what? Can replace lives of those individuals who perish under his tenure in office as Ghana's finance minister. At the time when one in Akufo-Addo, one can somewhat Ghana for say, oh, everybody's money is in safe hands. Before we lift our heads up, no more adane Ghana for na Ghana for no ankasa sika o mo ankasa dia koto and yet government be na dem on wakas, oh please, oh I want to borrow your money and at this time no we eminent Ghanaians in various corridors of Ghanaian society, including even our former Chief Justice and Ade, serve this country diligently and in their quest to utilize their own money for their welfare, for their families, and for whatever the circumstances demands. No, these people were told right on their faces that they cannot have access to their own money for reason being that Ken Ofori-Atta and then a brother Akufo-Addo have lifted this country to the corridors of the IMF. And as part of the conditionalities in Nasifona, these Ghanaians suffered the most treacherous and the most difficult period in their times that many resorted to nothing except that we saw several funerals at once, including the one renowned chief executive of Karma. Karma Industries.
Very. That is funny.
Died painfully for want of nothing. But now, today, the intellectual boss in this country, plus some legal luminaries, are insulting the people of this country. Say, no, for Ofori-Atta, only he has his right. Say, you bet me a trial in absentia without recourse whether or not he can make
he can be tried in absentia to the extent of even adding to it that he can decide that okay, he will come and yet he will not talk.
Now,
trying to. These are
all the build-up that has made this matter more worse than ever. Now again, listen. Now Ofori-Atta on one preposition of making us understand that yes, no operation. Yes, saying was the fact that yes, after this operation, he's going to set a date to come. We are on an date. He said somewhere 2025, somewhere in the month of June, April, Ofori-Atta definitely will make a landfall. He will step on the soil of Ghana to take processes through all the trial system, and then the adjudications of his cases will see the end to it. That again became a palpable lie and a false and a deceptive through the tweets of some of his legal advisors like the Frank Davis. And no, at the third then what we saw that was that the special prosecutor Kennedy Agyapong issued red alerts, and the red alerts hovered until we heard say no. Ofori-Atta at a point, no. So many lawyers need to more bail. Any the video, the red alert has been lifted on Ofori-Atta's head. Like seriously. Oh, sir. Then the fourth movement was for us to hear say Ofori-Atta is making a concerted effort to do what? To now change the status of his living in the United States. What it means is that what we heard and saw Ofori-Atta do was about say Ofori-Atta wasn't going to make any move to Ghana for the rest of his life. Like seriously. Before our very eyes. We heard the law enforcement of the United States now in cahoots grabbed him just like that. But then again, the very interesting part of now his current detention has nothing to do with that of the red alerts being triggered. That's the very facade of the situation. Now the U.S. authorities are now grabbing him on the basis of his what? His legal status in the United States.
And I think that's so strange.
That surfaced during the period that not all tries or bearing or double up to, as it were, refined and make his stay in America eminently, and that he wasn't going to make a move to Ghana. Now, what we trust is deep on here to see.
I find it with all the money
I have a nice say. A brown mubetimi any opportunity na mabesom Ghana no. A kwan mubetimi de Ghana faswa na di ehu say Ofori-Atta woye. Na meba o enti si etumi trans ne ye ewiase se de yaye ni a Kofi Ejire enye asem a emu ha adwene kakra na. Owia ne we bisa say in all of this na Ofori-Atta oye no. Was there at one point Ofori-Atta was reminded, including that of the Star Wars in the NPP, plus the Frank Davis, plus the Kwaku Annan, and said, listen, some members of parliament belonging to his party in the year 2024 demanded that Ken Ofori-Atta be made to step aside or otherwise exit the finance ministry. And what did Akufo do? All the people of this country. They have some catch Ghana for. Also, young kakra. Me say one within a month such as January, say the parliament at the return of members of parliament. One would do here on the bench, on the majority bench, led by Womudi party, and a group within the majority led by Kikubi and the rest, about 90 members of parliament rose in opposition to the government, and that we describe it to be that of a legislative coup against then the government of Akufo-Addo. One say, so when you papa name and we will not commence government business. Do you know how threatful this was against the government? Mr. said within that period, again they see what cabinet war. Now, as you can say because of one person. Was it all about Ghanaians demanding the exit of Ofori-Atta? And I say the exit, demanding to have exit of Ofori-Atta was an actionable comment from the party, from the government. So the question remains, what is it that those individuals have seen that the rest of Ghanaians haven't seen? And what did Akufo-Addo do? And then they render an accountability of your steel worshipper. Who say no, that is within your power and certain legal rights say no. You can disrespect the constitution and the structures of this country anyhow, because there will be some group of people to endorse the continuous stay in Ofori-Atta in the United States. But Kofi, me do we on so beba the omba we Ghana for the most despicable, repugnant, and embarrassment the Ofori-Atta has scored for himself, for his family, and for the entire nation Ghana What is more disturbing than this? Say, after we still worship now, the story being told about Ofori-Atta is about what? Ofori-Atta in the detention of ICE facility. Like seriously, and what kind? When some people went on Namade, they are not Osha Atare, and now our PA judge in Atare Ben and Osha, and at the end, I know they are Katana. Such person should be shot by sight without trial. Because the havoc, the pain such persons have caused to humanity, it was how my women. And yet trial as a move. Now you know been yassin straightforward. And yet trial. And people win on them no fain, as if say, or ye nipa on pen once a lady be or share a characteristics of Christ like, yet nimu or ye particular, or ye nipa, only nipa, fua, only a more brody nipa.
Yeah.
Namely, some nipa who do a titune nimpon, umu, authority. If anything, I see for the facility, Mono catch on say, so facility not team work the home to me, until they are trying to work their ass off quickly to get him out. And he says, oh, any brief here. Ghana now, Babana won't me man. I didn't want me man. Enterprise assurance, data bank, any transition here, government are confiscated, not yet.
Not yet. This has been one-on-one with the man Kwaku Annan, who is on fire, but because of time, and this being the last very edition of the online version of the Frontline show, we had to extend the time from the usual time that we normally do. It has been an explosive event. We've shared many words. We've talked on many things. We started off with the prophecies from these prophets, then the posters, then to the MPP Congress, and also to Ken Ofori-Atta. The next is the face of nature that will decide what will happen after all is said and done. As media practitioners, we'll do our part and discuss and share the words. But at the end, truth will prevail. My dear friend and brother Kwaku Annan, I've really enjoyed this discussion with you. This is not an interview, it has been a discussion, my co-host. I've enjoyed doing this with you throughout the season whilst we're doing this online. Next week, we're going to see you on the mainstream, on the screens of CTV. Share with us in Yaman Kakakra if it ever happen or next week or CTV though.
Great one, a quick one there. Nyankopon Yabma, Yebeshe, 1 year stewardship of His Excellency President Mahama. Yebeshe, quick one, woho. Yebeshe, so Ashe, so at the time, no, ebe the past of the MPP flag bearership race, the post race, no, emu ensemble ade. And the third one, yebe a small build up of the expose no, yebe, then near the expose no at Waso 2026 expose no workers of iniquities near the Waso. Yes.
And that's the papa. It's show you could wrap up a mambo and infinite microphones about can I to subscribe Nazi.
Great. This is your Global Public Square, GPS, the Frontline show. Of course, myself, Kwaku Annan, and Enoch Kofi-Adjiri. Ubetinya program where actually, my CTV GH and the Frontline Ghana, my CTV GH, the Frontline Ghana, and the Hawk TV, and Ghana for Maminka Semin Chemo. Say they are making a idea better was some year, Mr. Manento was one second program and I will share no tea me. So Nyakwadrubia said, just was some uni be benwa. Abuchimuni Ghana no wo. Ferman said Jack. Tinkomoya Ufi Ejiri any Kwaku Annan TV and Sembuma, ye beat me after movie the Abopana Papa pay. You, the assignment one said the Hawk TV, a channel, ye the name P4. Ubeden subscribe. Na fees one the program ya betoa. Na also abomodiano aqua the Hawk TV no simple Hawk near HAWK TV ekamo. No one subscribe and no one share. So why any other 2 channels ni na so subscribe. Na she be the yan say asam ye ka on find show kukum na wutie no waboa mu ne bi so ehu asem bi mu ne kre ne ye de sesa ye ho ne ye de sesa o mai ne ye na no ye hu ne kre no de abobra no Kofi medawase pa
Maso medawase. Thanks very much viewer listener for watching and listening to this very show, the online version, the last edition for the year of our Lord 2026. See you soon, and may the good Lord bless you. My name is Enoch Ijo. Bye.